that shit. Anyway, we've saved the best for last tonight. Very funny man coming to the stage. He's going to headline here at our book show January 20th, which is on a Saturday. Anyway, tickets will be on sale on Eventbrite for that show. Y'all give it up for Mr. Christopher Anthony.
You guys got a great thing going on here. Female Post Malone decided to sit outside. Thank you so much. I think you have to have a certain income bracket before you decide to tattoo your face. I also think it's great that you guys own the only pool table in Metairie based on the 22 people sitting in the front. I feel like we should just move the speakers over there because I only have 2 balls and they need at least 16 to feel fulfilled. There's something still playing. Also heard someone use the R word. That's when you know you're in a nice place, you can talk about anything. Ah, it's so good. I don't know if you guys know this, but you're not, huh? I do? Wow, I remind you of someone who's horrible. Awesome. I thought I just looked like stereotypical Hispanic person that stole a catalytic converter or something. I don't know. Like, insert Spanish name here. Alright, we're going to push through. Here we go. So November's over. So we have November, December, January, February. Not that you guys don't know the calendar, but let's just run through what's about to happen, okay? So November was Thanksgiving. That's when you got together with a whole bunch of people that you don't know, but you share a last name with. That's super great. You sit around a table with a bunch of strangers, kind of like a strip club, except there's food involved. Definitely don't want to touch that, you might get chlamydia. All right. This is great. Did you want this microphone, or what's going on here? All right. I thought you looked familiar. You look different with your clothes on. All right, look, I'll tell you what. Here's how skilled I am. Speaking of strip clubs, right? You said strip club? Cool. I hate when I go to strip clubs, and it seems like all the hot women took the night off. They all have something better to do. So I only go to strip clubs on Father's Day. You know what I mean? I know they're not busy. They're going to be at work. You know what I mean? And I go with my black friends because they don't have any plans either. You know what I mean? Like, what were you going to do? Try and call someone? You can't. He only makes calls from prison on Thursdays. All right, we're moving on. Okay? You don't know my black friends. All right. What was so confusing is the promoter was standing outside the strip club and he kept saying, "Come on in, no cover. Come on in, no cover." And I'm like, duh, I think I know how strip clubs work. Right? You would think that strippers would be involved in politics far more often because they're used to influencing wealthy people and they already know how to work the polls. They already know how to work the polls. That's a good funny joke. Thank you. All right, so moving past that. All right, so you spent November eating and eating. December you spent spending, right? And then January comes, right? And what are the 2 top New Year's resolutions? Lose weight and get out of debt. All right, so here, I'm actually starting the service where I lock you in a basement for 3 months. You never gain weight. You keep all your money. I just charge you $600. And if you get the R. Kelly special, there's a little bit of like a urinal scent that comes with it. That's an extra $150. But I believe I can fly. So that's gonna work, I think. I grew up poor, but my mom always had 2 things for Christmas. Always had 2 things. She always had a Christmas tree, and it always has lights. Always had lights. And that was my mom's way of saying, we live indoors and we have electricity, so fuck you, have a Merry Christmas. Those are your 2 presents. Enjoy it. Since I'm Hispanic from New York, that's a very believable story, and it's true. So, fuck all those people. I'm just talking to you guys now. We're going private. You guys are sitting down. I'm sitting down. All right. Do you have kids? You have kids? Awesome. Of course you do. It's a Thursday night. We're here. Because sitters cost twice as much on weekends. Am I right? Am I right? All right, we're good. It's really difficult. How old are your kids? 22 and 15. Good Lord. This is the part where I tell you, you don't look like you could have a 22-year-old. Just barely 19. All right. And you have, okay, so a 22-year-old and a what? 15. And yours? 7 and 7 weeks. In 6 years, I've never done crowd work. This is incredible. Now I know why. This is good. Girls like you remind me of, like, I would go to the skating rink and I'd see a girl with like a name like just above her butt crack, and I'd be like, she's too young to get a tattoo of her name above her butt crack. And I'd go up and be like, I can't believe you did that. You got your name. And she's like, no, that's my daughter's name. Okay, and we're good. What's challenging, right, is the whole Santa thing. You got to keep up the fiasco. So how old were the kids when you told them about Santa? From the get-go? You're like, we can't afford to put on this charade. Yeah, I can barely pretend to love your father. I can't do this kind of thing either. That's just not going to work. It's 2 performances, too exhausting. Also, we're getting a divorce for Christmas. All right. Is that true? Oh, you guys have been married this whole time? You've been, huh? 7. Okay, I'm not good at math. But I think 22 is more than 17. Gotcha. All right. But you guys have been married for 17 years? Maybe he's the one. I don't know. All right. But next year, your marriage is old enough to go off on its own. So that's always good, right? So, but what's complicated, right, is like when you do the Santa thing and you're like, hey, listen, Santa's not a real thing. Those kids go off to school and they spoil it for everyone else, right? Especially the ones who actually have mom and dad at home. They're like, fuck you, you don't deserve to be happy. So here's what I realized, right? What I'm gonna do, another side service I've got going on, I got tons of side hustle. For $400, I go into your house dressed as Santa with a gun I borrowed from Alec Baldwin. It should work perfectly. I make just enough noise that you get a head start when the kids come downstairs, right? Because you obviously live in a multi-level home with a chimney. And here's the great thing, right? You never, ever had to tell your kids that Santa isn't real because they watch you murder Santa right there in your fucking living room. It's such a good break. What it is there's a little bit of ketchup, maybe some barbecue sauce, and maybe real blood, depending on. You guys are in Metairie, so you guys all have guns at home anyway. That's fine.
How much you want for that?
400. But since you weren't listening, $650. It's a bargain. It's so good. And then there's a little play school kids shovel. It's great. You get the whole family involved. But what's good about this idea is that the kids never go back to school and say anything about Santa because that would make them an accomplice. That's right, an accomplice. Then they end up in the jail just like their first dad. Anyway, there's too many dads in jail in these jokes. I don't like it. So my mom was really smart. We grew up religious. So my mom told us really early on that we were Jehovah's Witnesses. She didn't know anything about the religion. All she knew was that you don't get birthday gifts or Christmas gifts. And she's like, at first, I thought we were poor in Puerto Rico. Turns out we're Jehovah's Witnesses. It's so good. I'm kidding. She's not that thoughtful. But we did have the tree and lights. It's really ridiculous. Then we're moving into New Year's. We got the New Year's resolutions. Lose weight, right? Get out of debt. And possibly, if you're single, you guys don't have to worry about this. But if you're single, you're like, I need to find someone, and I have 6 weeks to get them, right? Because you have Valentine's Day, right? And then I feel bad. Valentine's Day is the worst for white men. The worst for white men, okay? Because on Valentine's Day, you have to get her something nice to make up for all the bullshit from the last year, right? And for the entire month, you have to make it up to all the black people for all the bullshit your ancestors did. It's crazy. A little Black History joke right there. It's edge of comedy, right? We're doing that? What's really weird is you guys are going to start seeing all these commercials. Every kiss starts with K. Every kiss starts with K. You know the commercials? Yes? You know what else starts with K? Kill the kids in the kitchen with a knife. That's a lot of Ks. It's so many Ks. And that's how most marriages end, if I'm being honest. Every marriage ends with K. But what's really difficult, right, is like, then Valentine's Day comes and a lot of guys are going to propose because they're not very original. They're going to do what the TV tells them to, and they're going to propose on Valentine's Day. But I think a much better day to propose is April 1st. You know what I mean? Just in case, you're like, and she's like, you're not going to ask, are you? I'm like, no, I was tying my shoe. She's like, you're barefooted. What's going on here? Like, nothing. I'm just going to cry in the corner and figure out how to get you off the fucking lease. And that's what I'm going to do. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Now, I'm glad you guys have a successful marriage. Are you also married? You're a friend of hers and you're a friend of his?
We're not married. We've all been friends with her.
You guys, so this is like I've heard of a throuple. This is like a couple? You guys just, all right. No problem. This is why I don't do fucking crowd work. I hate talking to people, that's why I write jokes. We're going along. I think a lot of marriages fail because you propose when things are at their best. Would you agree? Just got a promotion from work, lost some weight, you're looking good, and you're like, this is the time to ask her if she wants to be with me forever, right? But that's why marriages fail. Because if you start off from that point, you got nowhere to go but from down, right? So my advice, and so far I've given great advice, kill Santa, absolutely. Lock yourself in a basement for 3 months, save money, lose weight. Here's my best advice. When you're gonna propose when things are at their absolute worst, right? First thing you do is kick your dog. She has a dog or a cat, obviously, she's been single for a while. You insult her family, sleep with one of her friends, and then you say, baby, will you marry me? If she says yes, what's gonna stop you? Your relationship is just gonna flourish at that point. Now, speaking of marriages, did you guys know every marriage has 3 rings? So, like, the engagement ring, the wedding ring, the suffering, absolutely, the suffering. You read the same emails I do, that's a good one, thank you. Didn't even know I stole that joke, I thought that's the only thing my dad left me. Speaking of dad, I remember the last time I saw my dad, we were playing peekaboo. He's a really fast runner. And I'd like to think I inherited his athleticism. So I grew up, just me, my mom, my 2 sisters. I had the prettiest hair, still do, thank you. But my mom was really worried. My mom was worried because when I was 12, I feel like a substitute teacher. I feel like whatever he's saying is what makes the thing. Yeah, you have candy, weed, whatever, it's fine. So just to catch you up, I have 2 sisters, my mom, my dad really isn't in the story, Hispanic girl from New York, you know John Leguizamo. Anyway, so she was really worried. Yeah, it's a Puerto Rican guy from New York. Me, him, Jennifer Lopez, we all know each other. We're Puerto Rican and famous, so. I got the fuck out of there, like every other Puerto Rican. All right, so my mom was really worried because when I was 12, she found my sister's Barbie dolls in my room. True story. She took all those Barbie dolls away and she got me G.I. Joes. And it was so difficult to masturbate to G.I. Joes. Couldn't take their clothes off, couldn't comb their hair, couldn't talk to them about my problems, you know what I mean? Like, so ridiculous. Do you guys know that they're coming out with a divorce Barbie? Yeah. They're coming out with, yeah, they had a wheelchair Barbie. It's the same thing. Financially crippled, physically. Anyway, so they're coming out with divorce Barbie. She comes with all of her accessories and all of Ken's accessories. They're hers, she won them. Everybody's been talking about sex. I was trying to have sex with a girl, and she said she was on her period, but I pulled some strings. What I think would be so great is if they designed tampons that had 2 strings. You pull the first one, it's just like shoots out confetti. It's like, you're almost there! Get a ride, clean up the mess, let's do this. Sex is weird. Women seem to think that it's really hot when they're like, deeper. Ladies, if you could just not do that, alright? Because it's a dick, it's not like the Star Wars franchise, you know what I mean? Like, oh, did you think you saw all the dick? There's more dick. I have dick in my nightstand just like you do. What? You want more dick? That's so great. I would never have sex with a girl and be like, shallower, shallower. I want to hit a wall. Does it ever end? How many kids have you had? Do you even talk to them? You know what I wouldn't do that. That is so rude. Plus, as my therapist says, when you say deeper, all I hear is, I'm not enough! I'm not enough! So I stopped fucking her. Anyway, my goodness. Also, look, especially when you guys have been together for a long time, you always want to spice things up. But just be careful what you say in the bedroom. Because what you say may not be what he hears, right? Perfect example, I'm laying in bed with my lady, in case you guys are still confused. Not gay, I'm from Miami, we all look like this. Anyway, so I'm laying in bed with my lady, and she whispers to me. First red flag, why are you whispering? Am I on camera? What the fuck is going on? It's a bedroom, not a library, okay? But she whispers to me, she says, I want you to make me feel because the people in the back don't matter, violated, right? And so, I did what I thought any man would do, okay? I tie her hands to the headboard, I tie her feet to the footboard, take notes, I put a gag in her mouth, and then she's like laying there, all vulnerable. I take that opportunity, and oh God, it gets me hot thinking about it. Hold on. I looked through her cell phone. And she was all like, and I felt very successful. Turns out that is not what she was into, based on her text messages with Greg.
Oh.
She wanted some 50 Shades of Grey kind of shit. Have you guys seen 50 Shades of Grey? Okay. I honestly thought that 50 Shades of Grey was porn for the elderly. Because it makes sense, right? It makes sense. The curtain matches the drapes, all that good stuff, right? Carpet, yeah. And also because my grandma would come out of there and her lap was soaked. I'm like, Grandma, did you spill soda on your lap? She's like, no. Nana needed this. It was all senior citizens going into the movie theater like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's really weird. I'm not really good at communicating. I'm not like very good with the ladies, in case you can't tell. I know. It doesn't make sense to me either. Huh? Right? I look like the exact guy that all of their fathers told them not to associate with, and I'm just waiting for Alon to be like, I hated my dad! Fuck me. Alright. Just waiting for it. Hasn't happened so far. But it's weird, right? Because like, again, the whole what they say isn't what I hear. So like a girl was like, well, I was always taught to be treated like a Disney princess, and I didn't understand what she was saying, and I was like, look, are we talking about the same thing? Like, you want me to kill both of your parents? So I'll fucking do it. Rack like that, why not? Let's kill her tits right there. And then another girl, she was like, I don't understand why guys are so obsessed with body count. Do you guys know this whole thing about body count? Body count, right. So I was like, look, you're pretty, you're fun, you're ambitious. I don't give a fuck how many men you've killed. Like, what does it matter to me? It's probably in self-defense, obviously. No, but they're talking about previous lovers, right? Oh, how many men have you been with?
Unless they're killing them like John
What is that? That's like the equivalent of your sexual resume. I don't need to know how well you did other jobs, because this is a completely different field, baby. Completely different field. But it's always awkward to have that conversation about previous lovers. You don't want to have it, but you kind of do. Like, just get out of the fucking way. Guys, I have a great idea. Do what I did. I said, look, baby, let's both talk about how many men we've slept with, all right? And I'm going to go first. Because I'm brave. 0. I've slept with 0 men. Oh, God, that took so much to admit. Your turn. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. She was just like, she's like, bye. That's a really dangerous thing, because Gotcha. Are you taking a picture? You told me to get the fuck out of here. I'm getting the fuck out of here. That's fine.
Nah, keep going.
He wants me to leave. Plus, I got to pay a bar tab from 5 weeks ago. What I want to leave you guys with, relationship advice, right? Relationship advice. First and foremost, I don't know where'd you guys meet?
Playground at 9.
So he sold you drugs,
He was the football player and I was a cheerleader.
right? So you guys met in high school.
9 years old.
You guys met when you were 9 years old.
Yeah.
All right, fuck this math. You have a 22-year-old. You met when you were 9. You've been together for 17. I'm glad you're a cheerleader because you're not a fucking scholar. I gotta tell you, that's
I had to go this way and then come back in.
carry the one. Oh, okay, here, you know what? You say playground. Here's a funny thing, okay? So I don't drink. And it makes it very difficult for me with relationships. Because when you're at a bar and you don't drink, that's like being at a playground and you don't have any fucking kids, right? There's nothing illegal about what I'm doing, but it's making people extremely uncomfortable. Huh? Oh, I don't know.
Y'all have something in common.
Oh, we don't drink. You don't drink?
You just started.
You don't drink at all.
Right. So speaking of playground, right? So it's like I pull up to a bar and girl's like, "Oh, what are you drinking?" I'm like, "Red Bull." She's like, "Red Bull and what?" I'm like, "Red Bull and ice." And she's just like, "Bye." She's like, I tell her there's nothing in my drink, and she looks at me as though I put something in her drink. It's very weird. And I'm like, "Look, if you want, I can start having an alcohol problem, go through the whole recovery process. We can come back here in 10 years to celebrate." I'm also willing to murder both of your parents. You said Disney princess, right? And I'll let you guys know, I'm finishing with this, I'll leave, alright? When I tell people I don't drink, they always assume that there's a story. There's gotta be a story, right? They assume that like me or my mom or my dad had some horrible drinking problem. There's no story. I just don't like the taste of alcohol. It's just that simple, right? Not a big fan of it. I also don't eat mayonnaise. But that's because my dad beat the fuck out of me with a mayonnaise jar. Just all throughout my childhood, and then Hellmann's must have known because they changed from glass to plastic. But then he would throw those packets, and they were so sharp. So sharp, and they would cut my face. But whenever I go out, my friends are not like, "Hey man, I'm gonna have some mayonnaise. Is that gonna be weird for you?" I might have a little bit of mayonnaise. So just be considerate. If you go out with friends and they're like, "Hey man, I don't put mayonnaise on my sandwich," just be like, "How do we talk about that?" You guys have been great. Thank you so much.
Christopher Anthony.